Hey there guys and gals, my name is Luke. Welcome to this episode of the Outdoor Gear Review. Today I am reviewing this product right here. This is the 180 Flame Wood Stove. Very small form factor, somewhat lightweight, very functional. Everyone, let's take a look at it now. Now to start off here, the stove does come in this plastic bag right here. Now you could keep your stove inside of this. It does make a good carry bag, or you could go with something a little bit more lightweight. This is the stove as you will receive it. Has two rubber bands to hold it all together. And here are the components. You have two support legs, one piece to connect these two here. Now you can see here on these pieces of metal, you have these two slide in points. Those are the top. You take this piece here, and that is what connects these two pieces together. Just like so, very simply. Then you have those support legs, or that's what I'm going to call them. And as you can see, it slides over, slides in, just like so. Do the same thing with the other leg. Bam. And just like that, the stove is ready to go. As I get a fire going, I will be going over the stats. When it comes to the price of the stove, you are looking at $37.95, and you can get that at the 180 TAC website. The weight on my scale is 6.2 ounces. The material, this is made from a very thin 304 stainless steel. It is made in the United States. Once you have this bad boy set up, you are looking at 5 inches by 4 inches by 3¼ inches. Stove size, 5 by 3¼ with a width of roughly ½ an inch. Alright, so as you guys can see there, the stove is very simple to set up. It's also very simple to use. The easiest way of going about using this stove is to get your fire going first, then move the stove to it. Then you can put on your pot, your water, whatever it is that you're going to do, and from there you feed the beast. Once your water is done, which mine is, you can simply take it off of the stove. Then you can move the stove away from the fire itself to let it cool off. When it comes to the cool off time, it takes roughly 5 minutes for this to cool off, and that's what I would expect with these thin materials here. Now, if you go out to purchase one of these stoves, be aware that there are two different versions out there. This is the smaller version. This is the 180 Flame Wood Stove. There's also a 180 stove that is larger. As you all can see, this is a 3-sided stove. 1, 2, and 3. You have an opening here. This is the way that you can feed it. You can also feed it from the top if your cook set allows for it. If your cook set is too big, just go through the front. You do have wind holes, air holes all the way around. That does supply the stove with an adequate amount of air, of oxygen, of fuel. Before jumping to the review of this stove, I have to admit that I've seen some pretty funny comments and reviews about this very specific stove online. Namely, people state that it's hard to get a fire built inside of it. Well folks, that's why you get the fire built and then move the stove to it, and then you feed it. Super simple. Personally, I thought that was a little bit funny. They weren't thinking outside of the box, I suppose. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's jump to the review of this stove here. Let's just go ahead and start with the cons instead of the pros. The con list is much shorter. First off, because the steel here is so thin, I have noticed that there is some warping taking place with the metal. You know, it's one of those things where it's not bad though, and honestly, I'm not worried about it. It's one of those issues which I very easily can bend the metal back into place. Now, I was concerned about this initially, and I went to their website, the180tac.com, looked this up, and apparently that is a characteristic of this stove here. It will warp somewhat, no big deal. I've used this stove maybe, I would say, I don't know, 40 times, something like that, at times for very long durations, and I've had no real issues. Some slight warping, nothing that hinders this stove, nothing that affects its performance. With this being a wood stove, that means that its performance will be lower than, say, a canister stove. A canister stove will be much faster to boil your water in the long run. Now this one happens to be more fun to use, in my opinion. But you cannot use this stove in every single situation or every single location. There are fire bans in some park systems, and of course, this is a weather-dependent stove. If you don't have dry material, well, good luck. You're eating a cold dinner. Now, of course, those are cons with any wood stove. The next con I would have to say is price. This thing is a little bit pricey. You know, almost 40 bucks for what you're getting here. This is very expensive. There are a ton of wood stoves out on the market. There are a ton that fold down very, very flat. You know, while I like this design, it's nothing really new, and I would like to see this at a lower price. Now, this is made in the United States, so that does mean something, so the price does go up. The fact that it's made in the United States means that, yes, you can give them some leeway on the price. Personally, I support businesses in the United States, and I have no issue with supporting this company either. You know, moving to the pros, I like this thing. I really do. It's lightweight, it folds down very, very small. You know, it's just a good little stove. I like using wood stoves like this. They're fun to use. There are no real issues here against it. You know, my biggest complaint is the price. There are so many designs out there, and you can really get them super, super cheap if you know where to look. So with that being said, I do like the 180 flame stove. I am a fan of this smaller design. I am a fan of small stoves. Go small, lightweight, and quick. That's how I roll personally. When it comes to stability, no issues at all. It's a very stable platform. Thanks to these support legs here, no issues. What would I recommend this stove for? Well, just about anything. This is great for emergency use. You could throw this inside of your backpack for a day hike. You know, you may not need to use it, but you have it there. That's a huge plus. For backpacking, bushcraft, and so on, perfect. Going back to bushcraft, this is a fantastic little bushcraft stove. It really is. If you're a bushcrafter, you're trying to be minimalistic, and this fits with that perfectly. Oh, let's see. What else can I say about it? Yes, since this is a wood stove, you better plan on lots of soot. Make sure to bring a towel with you, something like that, so you can wipe it off, wipe your hands off, because this will make a mess, no doubt about it. Now, before I end this video, I want to show you all one thing. Let's say that your fire's dying out, you have some low-lying embers. You can move these legs down a step lower. Check this out. So you can see how the legs slide into these supports right here. Well, you can take the legs off, and instead of putting it over the top like so, you can actually go inside and slide it in. Do that on the other side, and check that out. You can see I've lowered the legs down. The stove is fully functional. You can have your pot, your cup closer to the embers. Works perfectly. One last tip before ending this video, get yourself a pocket bellows. These really do work well with small little wood stoves like this. If your fire's dying out, turn it around, blow in it. Super, super simple, super simple. So folks, that pretty much wraps it up for the 180 flame wood stove. There's a lot to like here. The price is a little bit high. It's a very simple stove made for small cook kits, cups, and so on. Will this suit your needs? Only you can answer that question. It is very simple to stow away and to put up. Everything simply slides and forms together. You take your rubber bands, and just like that, you're done. It's ready to go. This stove is without a doubt an option amongst a sea of options. Until next time, everyone, strength and honor. See you guys around.